Do you know why that report fails to mention any such cause or concern about the violent nature of this child?
I told my social worker at that time, I said, I've taken him to Costco. I said, if he doesn't get his way, he's wetting his pants. I've taken him to Universal Studios. He couldn't ride the Spider-Man ride. He wets his pants. I said, he kicks, he bites, he hits me. She said, those are orphanage behaviors. That's to be expected.
And did you tell your social worker you were intending to relinquish custody or physical custody of the child to your parents?
No, I didn't. Not in January.
In fact, you were asking for a second child, were you not?
In January, I was, until I put that on hold at the end of January.
All right. You recall signing the placement agreement at the time this child was placed in your home?
Actually, I have a problem with that post-placement agreement.
My question simply is whether you recall signing it.
I was told after returning back from Russia, they called me, a WACAP employee called me, and she said, we're going to be sending you some documents we need you to have notarized and sign and send back to us, and you won't get a court date or return to Russia till we receive them. And so she UPS'd me these documents that I had never seen, and that is why the date is July of 09. That's the first time I saw this post-placement contract. That's the first time I had seen it, is when she said I had to sign it to return back to Russia.
So you don't deny that's your signature?
Oh, that's my signature, yes.
And, you certainly read it, I assume, at the time you signed it?
Yes, but I knew that I couldn't return back to Russia if I didn't sign it. I had already spent over $25,000. I had met him. All my documents are supposed to be going to court.
And I'm sorry.
That's why it's dated July of 09, even though I had signed with WACAP in August of 08, and I never saw this contract.
The child was placed with you in September?
The child was placed with me in September of 09. I signed with WACAP in August of 08 to adopt him.
So you knew before even placement, though, that this child, that you would, if you ever removed the child from your home, you could be held liable for cost, medical care cost, and other expenses. Is that right?
I did not read that contract that way. When it was sent to me at the time, I remember I told someone at that time I did not want to sign it, but if I did not sign that contract, I knew I could not go through with his adoption. I had just returned from seeing him. I returned on July 4th of 2009. I had to sign the contract on July 23rd of 09.
Ms. Hansen, did you interview this driver that was located over the internet who in Moscow picked up your son at the airport and drove him to the Ministry of Education?
Mr. Crane, I wasn't even involved in any of those arrangements. You'd have to talk to my mom.
All right, but you were the mother of this child, were you not?
I was the mother of the child, but my parents had taken custody of him a few months before that, and I was aware that he was going back to Russia.
And I assume you were aware that he was being sent there alone?
Yes, I was aware of that.
And that someone would have to pick him up at the airport?
Uh-huh. I was aware of that, and I know that at age 5 you can fly alone internationally. Here in the U.S., I know in Russia you can fly at age 2 unsupervised.
Is it your position here today, Ms. Hansen, that at any point along the way, after this case was filed in this court, that at any point from the time it was appealed to this court until the final judgment was entered, that you were simply unaware of any proceedings taking place in this court?
I was very unaware. I was told in December of last year by my prior counsel, Sandra Smith. She said she was going to do 3 things. File an interlocutory, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, appeal to keep the media out. She was going to file a protective order, and she was going to file a motion to dismiss. I did not find out that she had not filed the protective order or the motion to dismiss until February.
All right. And did you understand that you had been ordered to appear at a deposition?
I did not even, as you can tell, I don't know if you've seen my letter, I did not know. My attorney, I believe the court hearing was on February 1st. I have the phone records that I was calling her and emailing her, asking her what happened. She never got back to me. That Saturday afternoon, she called and left a message. Her message was returned. She didn't return that message. And so I called again on Sunday, and she still didn't tell me what was going down. I believe she called on that Monday and told me.
Is it your testimony that your attorneys were not providing you with copies of pleadings that had been filed with this court?
I would say I still have not seen the interrogatories that she sent for WACAP, and there's something else that she had sent for WACAP, some type of questions. I haven't seen none of that. I saw most of what was filed with this court after I dismissed her and she sent the file.
All right. Was there ever a time that you did not provide your attorney with your whereabouts, fax number, phone number?
No, she had a phone number for my mother. She never had my number.
And if as an officer of this court, she testified that she had provided you with notice of the deposition and notice of when to appear in court. You're saying she would be mistaken about that?
I'm saying she would definitely be mistaken. When is she saying she provided? I'm saying that Monday following the court hearing is the first I heard there was a deposition. I believe that would be on the, I believe that might have been the 10th. I don't have a calendar, but I believe on the 10th is when I finally found out that deposit she had not filed a protective order, and like she had told me she was going to do, and there were depositions.
It just strikes me, first of all, you're clearly not a stranger to filing matters with. Well, you filed a third action in Russia, did you not?
My third action in Russia, my Russian attorney told me, are we referring to my taking the child's ombudsman to court? That was filed because she advised me that the Russian Supreme Court, when they revoked the adoption, that he is a government official and he should not be trying to meddle over here in saying that the adoption has not been revoked and calling me Archam's mother still. So she advised me to file that case in Russia.
Are you aware that the court in Russia has made a specific finding of fact of neglect and abuse by you of this child?
I am aware that they felt that putting him on the plane was emotionally disturbing.
Are you aware also of its findings with regard to inappropriate discipline by you and your mother of this child?
That, I'm aware of that, and I have to go back to what that is probably from. Is when they first called once he arrived, my mother told them what had happened to him at the orphanage, how they had given him cold showers and they had beat him with a broomstick, and that is why she had made the decision to send him to Moscow instead of to the orphanage he came from. And I believe that is somehow in response to my mother making the claims about the Russian orphanage.